This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy, and of Assessor Audit on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about my experiences with the town of Clayton. I had a case up there where it came down to the last minute to file for the Board of Assessment Review, and we did a digital signature, and we got that in on time. Right at the last minute, because keep in mind the tentative rolls come out May 1st. People get the notices. Sometimes they don't get them right at May 1st. I've seen people get them right up to the last week. And so they have very little time to prepare for this. And so this particular taxpayer got to me at the last minute. And so we got the thing filed. They make you do everything at once, basically a whole year's worth of work in a matter of 3 weeks. And so we got the petition in with digital signatures via email. And I get a notice from their new assessor, Alexander Marchinkoff. Now, I knew the previous assessor pretty well, Kim Johnston, and I thought that she was a good assessor. She was responsive. She would look into things. She wouldn't necessarily agree with you, but she would take a look at it, and she would either make an adjustment or she would politely point you to your appeal options, which is the way it should be. And I think she did a good job. Apparently, she took a job on, I think, Watertown, and she's been replaced by this Alexander Marchinkoff. So Alexander Marchinkoff claims that you have to provide hard copies or a fax. And well, I haven't owned a fax machine in over 20 years, and of course, it comes down to the last minute. You don't have time to get hard copies to them. The property owner, is it's a second home, so they weren't in Clayton to be able to hand deliver a hard copy, and we didn't have enough time to mail it. So he says you have to send a fax. Well, I don't have a fax machine, and I couldn't drive up to Clayton to drop off a hard copy. So I just found that to be pretty disingenuous behavior. He's claiming that state law says that that's required. I heard later that the town has to do some sort of resolution to accept anything other than faxes and hard copies. It's just absolute nonsense. I think that the law that they were referring to was written in 1986 when everybody used fax machines. People don't use fax machines anymore, and he's just being ridiculous. He doesn't apparently want to be held accountable for his work. That's the only explanation that I have. I forwarded over my issue to the town supervisor, a Mr. Peterson. I'm not familiar with him, but apparently it got back that they were going to do a resolution to be able to accept these things. So I mean that's progress, but I didn't hear back from the supervisor regarding any of my concerns. So that's a customer service concern. When you just ignore the taxpayers and their representatives. So I was dissatisfied with that. So to me, an assessor's job is to be responsive to taxpayers and to aid them in their concerns. And this guy did the exact opposite. He hindered the taxpayers' concerns. And I just don't think that's good customer service. And I'd like to see the town re-educate this fellow. I don't know enough about him to know if he's a good assessor, but he got off to the wrong foot with me. Again, this is about customer service. The town works for the taxpayers. The taxpayers don't work for the town, and he's there to service them. So he should have done whatever it is he could to accommodate those people, but he did the opposite. So he's off to a bad start. Apparently, some action was taken so that they can accept these things in the future. But I would have expected a response from the supervisor, but apparently, he's busy. I don't think there's much more to say about it. We'll have a SCAR hearing coming up. The petition was submitted to the bar, and they're going to do what it is that they're going to do, and we'll wait for their response, and then, if necessary, we'll go to SCAR, and hopefully we can get a fair hearing. But that's what's going on in the town of Clayton. I think that they've got some things to clean up, and it's a beautiful town, beautiful area, and I'm not suggesting that this is something major that you need to turn the government over this issue, but it's just kind of it's a disappointing lack of customer service. It's Mike Franklin, the property tax guy.